Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to your school, Summer Hour Middle School, the community beautiful new facility. Yay! We are so excited to be able to host the State of the City address here at Summer Hour Middle School this evening. I am so excited that you all are here, and after the meeting is over, feel free to kind of tour around and see what's going on here at Summer Hour Middle School. We got some great stuff on the walls indicating our student work here, so feel free to walk around. It's your school. My part here, according to Mayor Bucky Johnson, is to introduce any of the educators in the audience and to have our beautiful jazz band, give them a round of applause, do a selection. So before they do their selection, I'm just going to introduce our county and other educators in the room. I see my district school board member, Louise Radloff, my area board member, who is at every function that happens here at Summer Hour. I don't know how she does it, but she is right on it. And then I saw Mary Kay Murphy, right here, Mary Kay. She is for the Pinckneyville and Peachtree. She's a district with Duluth, that area. And then I see Mrs. Beauty P. Baldwin, who is North Metro Academy School of Performing Arts director, as well as the namesake for the new elementary school right next door to us. Yay! Other educators I see, Tixie Fowler is our environmental outdoor learning center coordinator here at Summer Hour, doing a great job with our students in STEM. And educators, did I miss any other educators? I don't see any principals out there. Do I see Dr. Phillips out there? I don't see Dr. Phillips just yet. Okay, we'll get her introduced later. So, without any further ado, I would like for you to sit back and just enjoy the wonderful jazz band under the direction of Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Simmons, our jazz band. Prepare to exit. Let's give them another round of applause. Our jazz band. I am so proud of the students here at Summer Hour Middle School. Mikey told me that I could take a few minutes, one or two, to tell you just a little bit about what's going on here at Summer Hour Middle School. First of all, we are at 1,620 students. We are projected to be at 1,667 for next year. We always go at least 50 over. So for all intent and purposes, we will be just about at capacity after next year. But in any event, we are a Title I school, approximately 92% free and reduced lunch. We have 64% of our population is Hispanic, 22% African American, about 8 or 9% Asian, and about 3% Caucasian. We are a distinguished breakout school as designated by the state 2 months ago, which means that we have done a phenomenal job of closing the achievement gap. Yes. This is my 7th year with Summer Hour, and I remember meeting with Bucky Johnson about 6 months into my first year because I knew I needed to get out to the community and have the community embrace my school and embrace the vision and help spread the word on what was going to be happening here at Summer Hour, because the principal can't do all that. So I went and Bucky told me what the vision was for Norcross, a place to imagine. And he told me all the things that were going to be happening, and that this school needed to be the middle school of choice as people were deciding on whether or not they were going to move to this beautiful place to imagine. And I said to him, that's my goal. This will be the middle school of choice. And you want to know something? This past year, we got 2 steps closer. Number 1 step was moving into this brand new facility. And the number 2 step was Louise Radloff supporting me 100% for a mandatory uniform policy here at Summer Hour. A world of difference, and I so appreciate that support. I so appreciate it. So we are in the, we're on the move upward, guys, and Summer Hour Middle School is no joke. We are working hard and being nice. Without any further ado, I'd like to bring up for you our mayor, Bucky Johnson.
She couldn't talk too long is because I hate to follow her when she's talking, so that's the truth of it. I wrote an article in the city newsletter a month or so ago. It said, we're experiencing a renaissance. And so I looked up, I just knew that that was the case, but I looked up what renaissance was. We're not talking about the renaissance, we're talking about a renaissance. And so you don't have to go out and buy new clothes. So anyway, so I looked up some of the words, and it's interesting that resurrection was one of the words in that, so I just thought that was funny. But I believe that we have experienced a new birth, and a rebirth, a reappearance, whatever, the words. I really think that describes a lot of what has been going on in Norcross since 2001. My wife and I were looking to move somewhere in the metro area, and in 2002, we just happened to come to a party in Norcross. We lived in Atlanta our entire lives, never been in downtown Norcross. And I went, who put this little city right there? She loves the historic feel. We were actually looking at Madison and around, and it turned out we liked that it was historic, we liked that it was walkable, but we also heard about this new group that was forming. It was Norcross Homeowners Association. And a bunch of citizens were getting involved and so forth. I didn't realize the 2001 LCI study started that whole process. We just came after there was an interest. And so it was interesting to see this town then. But let me go, before I get into the whole renaissance here, let me got a couple other things. This is a slide that I saw at a Partnership with Gwinnett event. And I went, wow, that's some heavy words there. I'll let you take a gander. I don't like people read slides to me. So, but it's the truth. And the interesting thing is, just before I was elected mayor, we were doing a branding campaign. And the branding campaign was looking at what all we were doing in the city and how we were working and so forth. And basically, in the campaign, they came up with the slogan, Norcross, a place to imagine, because the idea is not like the old ball field is build it and they will come. The idea is let them build it and others will come. So it's a kind of a different way of thinking about change. So I thought it was a really good way to go. I believe the education system is going through a major renaissance. Thank you if you voted for East Boston. Because it's amazing. If you look, and I'll just let you take a gander, that's a pretty, now I'm just talking about since 2001, not schools that were already here, schools that were already staffed that were going. 2001. Now the North Metro Performing Arts Academy is on the Hopewell campus. It used to be the Hopewell Academy. That's what the school is using there, but it is a charter school through the Gwinnett system. So they're leasing the facility, and I asked Ms. Baldwin about how much did that facility cost, and she said it was about $9 million. So even though the school system doesn't own it, they're still using that facility. So that's pretty impressive numbers. And then you hear about the awards that the school system have won, the Brogue Prize 2 times and tied second once. And that's not for who's the very best school system in the nation just because you're really good. It's you've closed the gap. It's you've got a diversity, and you're helping every level of student, not just the top students or just one part of the student. That's what the Brogue Prize looks at. So that's pretty impressive numbers. I want to talk to you about the City of Norcross Construction. We've got some new folks in the room, and I'm going to introduce a special guest here in just a minute. But I just want to talk to you about structure of the city, and I don't think everybody understands that. In most cities in Georgia, we have over 500, have a similar structure. The citizens elect mayor and council. We have election every year, so we're on a 2-year cycle. So if you just moved in, you're going to have to go to the city hall a lot. Then the mayor and council hires one person, the city manager. The city manager hires everybody else and manages the staff and implements the policy. The mayor and council are policy makers. The mayor is like the CEO of the city. Rudolph would be like the COO of the city. And Karen would be the CFO if you thought of it in business terms. Anyway, so we have 89 full-time staff and 15 part-time. The staff serves at the direction of the city manager, reports either through he's got a staff of directors, and then they report directly to him or report to those directors. The mayor and council also appoint citizen boards and authorities, and I have one appointment, and I have the housing authority. The city staff also support the work of each of these boards and authorities. Before I go any farther, let me introduce some special guests that we have here today. Before I do that, Dorothy, come back up. I have a little something for you. Thank you for your great work. I don't do this very often. And we have the photographer close at hand. Charlie, I want you to come up here because she has done, don't look, she's done amazing work. And in the 7 years, she could teach anywhere. She could be a principal anywhere. She could be an administrator. She could be the county office, but she chooses to be here. The difference you made in the city of Norcross, I'm going to present you with a key to the city.
14 karat gold?
That's it. Just ask them to phone you.
Thank you.
We've got the commissioner for our area of Gwinnett County, Commissioner Lynette Howard. Please stand to be recognized. Thank you. We've got Representative Pedro Moran, who's our representative. Mr. Chuck Warrington, who is Executive Director for the Gwinnett Village CID. And the Mayor Emeritus, Lillian Webb, is in the audience. Ms. Webb. There she is. And I have to introduce her because she's really so supportive of me, my wife, Janet. And 2 of the newest citizens of Norcross, they just moved in Friday. They just happen to be my brother and sister-in-law, Mike and Carol Rowland. Welcome. So we started them early. They moved in Friday, and they're here at the State of the City. So, all right, let me continue here. The city is special because of the volunteers, and I try to do this every year, every other year. I could probably do a lot of certificates, but I try to keep it to what I think is a reasonable number because I want to make it special to those folks. I've recognized other people in the past, and sometimes I've recognized people a couple of times, but I think it's really special. I'd like for them to come and join me up on stage and get a certificate of appreciation. Let me read what it says on here. It says, a volunteer recognition presented to the name. Thank you for the extraordinary service and dedication to the city of Norcross. I've signed it with a date. And the first of those folks I want to recognize is not only is she a super volunteer, she gets other volunteers in line and so forth. And I hope she's here. I haven't seen her yet. Nanette Arsenault. Programs like Art Fest, and we have to get somewhere like 350 or 5,000 volunteers, whatever, somewhere between that number. And so it's just great that the work that she does year in and year out. Thank you so much. The next gentleman has put in hundreds of hours at no pay, taken a lot of shots from the community, but has carried on and done such a great job of leadership this year. He's at every council meeting, plus doing his own thing with the DDA, Mr. Pat Ike. This is another person on the DDA. You may or may not know that a couple of years ago, it used to be that the July 3rd was put on by the Business Association. Well, they decided they weren't going to do it anymore, so we turned to the DDA. And then the DDA turned to this gentleman and said, "Can you really help us?" Ed Flynn. He also worked yeoman's duty at the Tour Homes, which was a spectacular event. And so the July 3rd is hot and it's long, and he did a lot of heavy lifting. So, thank you. All right, this lady has worked for the city, but she's done a tremendous amount of volunteering while she was working for the city. Now she no longer works for the city, but continues to volunteer. Helped put in the trails. What happened at Johnson Meeting Park, the county owns a sewer easement there, and they came in and mowed down the sewer easement, and so they said, let's put some trails back there, and she was one of the ones that helped put that together, and she does a tremendous amount of volunteering over here at Summer Hour with their garden. Dixie Fowler! The farmers market too, but many other things. Congratulations, Dixie. All right, this next person, it would probably be easier to say what she doesn't volunteer for than what she does volunteer for. And you probably know what I'm talking about. Deb Harris, come on up. We start off. Anybody that hit the ground running any more than Deb Harris did. She may have retired from work, but she didn't retire from doing stuff. And the community garden, I mean, again, it'd be easier for me to tell you what she didn't, but every time somebody's needed or called, Deb Harris gets the call and responds. Deb, thank you. This lady has been a great help to me, helped with the Mayor's Book Club, helps with the Cluster Partnership, and again, Southwest Chamber. She does it all. I don't know how she has this bandwidth, but Renee Heaven, let us recognize you. sitting in the front. See, y'all like Baptists, you see the back. Thank you so much for that. Let me get them walking up here, then I'll talk about them. Laura Hester, come forward, please. Laura is a lawyer in her real life, but she's also serves on the DDA as a DDA member, but has been able to, this year, she has put in so many extra hours and not bills. And so it has been a great help in trying to work out development around Lily Webb Park. Thank you, Laura. Pierre Levy, come down. You were a volunteer before you were a county. Pierre? Okay, there you go. The British Car Fair was the biggest and best this year ever, and they've already got sign-ups for next year, which means it's going to be bigger and better next year. And Pierre did a tremendous amount of organization to get them there and does a great job. So thank you for that, Pierre. Another lady, Charlotte Osborne, come down. Again, the trail in Johnson Dean Park, she was relentless about helping with that and carried it forward. And it's great to have people who have follow through and keep reminding us what we need to do and kind of push us and so forth. So Charlotte, thank you. Chuck Paul, are you here? Are you here? Come here. Even though he's an SMU fan, he's done tremendous work with the Southwest Chamber. He was president of that group. Again, always has a smile on his face, always positive. And when PDC was looking for a leader this year, there's not a lot of people stepping forward, and Chuck stepped forward. And so, thank you, Chuck. Gene Ramsey, come forward. If you missed the cemetery tour, and not many people did, because he had about 100 this time, because the cemetery has been, it's fantastic. It's been repaired. There's a new fence around it. It's a lot of the gravestones have been fixed, have been cleaned. But it's so interesting the history of the whole Gwinnett County is contained in our cemetery, but not only just bland facts about that. He connects the dots, which is amazing because a lot of the records burned when the courthouse burned. So trying to figure out all the connections, it is a fascinating. He does it for other cemeteries, but we claim him here. So Gene, thank you so much for all that. I've got a new category this year. There's some people that you don't even realize they don't live here because they spend so much time. So I have a new category. It's called Honorary Citizen. Okay? And the first one I'm going to introduce is Alyssa Sinclair Davis. Come on down. She works for Chuck and the Gwinnett Village CID, but I think she's like our person. For Norcross, and she does so much and takes care of us and watches out and is here all the time, so I just had to make you an honorary citizen. She lives in Midtown, but I'll let her. All right, I hope he's here. I don't see him, but Jim Fox, are you here? Dang, I wanted to make fun of him. This guy, he keeps showing up. I didn't even know he didn't live here. And so, but he entertains us. He fills in for the PDC. But he's a super volunteer. He's doing a lot of work with with the elderly and so forth. And I think he's just a gem to have around. Well, he is a gem, Jim Fox. But I'll get him at some other point. So. Terry Howard, come on down. So it sounds like a game show, but. Terry's a minister at Norcross First United Methodist Church, but again, you would think that she lived in downtown because we see her so much, and she's volunteered for the Mayor's Book Club. Again, it'd be easier to say what she hasn't volunteered. Anytime you need something from the church or connection, the home tour, did parking lot, bus, you say it, she says, okay, when and where, and then she even makes up some other stuff. So, I didn't say it, but it's awesome to have her, so I'm going to make you an honorary citizen. She said she wished she lived in Norcross. We can make that happen. We have a very special group of folks here in Norcross. I've never recognized them with a certificate at this particular event, but boy, the longevity they've been here, the amount of events they've done, the amount of folks they've entertained. Not only that, in teaching, instruction, summer camps, and anytime the city needed to do something different, the Lion Heart was there. So, Tanya. And she just told me that the Lion Heart was voted best theater in Gwinnett County. Hey! And if you're new in town, they do all types of shows right up next to the community center at the old church there. So be sure you catch that. And we've got one more award or recognition. Before I do that, I have to introduce another lady that I didn't necessarily introduce earlier. I wanted to introduce her at this particular time. Connie Wiggins has been working for Gwinnett, Clean and Beautiful, for 30 years. And she's retiring in April. And what she's done for this county is no short of miraculous. And we're going to miss you, but I want you to stand and be recognized right now. We're very fortunate to have folks who love Norcross and want us to be more sustainable in every way. And a number of years ago, this group got together, formed their own group called Sustainable Norcross. And then that group we brought into to be a citizens group of the city. But they went through the whole process of ARC a few years ago and got us certified at the gold level. It has to be recertified every 3 years. So they have just gotten gold again for 3 years. So Sustainable Norcross. Need somebody for Sustainable Norcross. Somebody come up. Thank you. Mel, thank you. Okay, the clicker and continue. I waited to do this introduction where you can see them on the screen. I think most of them are here tonight. Craig Newton is our Mayor Pro Tem. We have Pierre Levy, who's just joined the council the first year, Andrew Hickson, Josh Baer, and David McElroy. Let's give them a big hand. Although I'm the one that does the talking, they do all the heavy lifting, so leave them out. And then, what a spectacular group here. Rudolph Smith, obviously, I always give accolades to him because we're so lucky to have Rudolph Smith as our city manager. He's been here for Lee Ryan, our city clerk, Pam Ledbetter helped me with this whole, with the presentation and so forth. She does our marketing. We have another Prince in Warren Summers, our police chief, who does a tremendous job. Rusty Warner, Economic Development, Kate Kitchen, Welcome Center Community, John Davis, and our Community Development, Joy Williams, and clerk, I saw her here tonight, and Karen Dixon, Administrative Services. So let's give them a big hand. Now here's where a ton of the work gets done, the citizen boards. I put all of the regular standing citizen boards up here, but there are other different task forces and so forth that come into play. And I did kind of a rough count, and there's over 50 citizens serving on these boards at no pay, and making our city a better place. Just like I said, the change, when it's done by us, is exhilarating. So these are folks that are helping to change your community. Key city partners. We could not do what we do in a bubble. Gwinnett County, I've already mentioned Lynette. Here's something that you may not know about. When we had the last SPLOST, the county, from their portion of SPLOST, gave all the cities, I mean, they split it up among the 16 cities, $25 million. We got $1.8 million, so thank the county for that. And they're also the ones that build the library, so we're working with them, and I will see the libraries later on, but that's a partnership with them. Gwinnett Village, I'll show you a little presentation on that, but you look at all of the different groups that, I mean, these are just some. I couldn't name them all, didn't have a big enough slide, but these are, I think, really key folks. Okay, Partnership Gwinnett, that's one of our partners. We just had a workshop. They've done 10 years of Partnership Gwinnett, starting year 11, and they're doing a whole workshop on what's the next steps. And here's what they talk about: economic development in general. Here's what you got to do. You got to be sure that your education and workforce are sustainable. That means you got something in the pipeline. To have the school system we have, you can go to kindergarten here, you can graduate high school, college, and even graduate school and never leave the county. The Gwinnett Tech and Georgia Gwinnett Tech and Georgia Gwinnett College are real gems in the higher education. I think Gwinnett Tech is the top technical school in Georgia, and Georgia Gwinnett Tech in 10 years went from 160 to 12,000. So that's what they are today. And it's an access university. That means if you graduate from a Georgia school, you can get into that, and they've got some great programs over there. The next thing is a sense of place. And we get a lot of accolades about what we've done here in Norcross about creating a sense of place. People used to get a job and then figure out where to live. Now it's just the opposite. The millennials, they figure out where to live and then they'll get a job and figure it out from there, which is really unusual. I'm still getting my head around that one. But it's really important. Across the whole globe, there is a migration back to cities. Okay? I mean, it's happening everywhere. It's happening in Gwinnett County. Almost 800, we'll be the largest county before long. We're around at 860,000 people right now. And here's a tidbit I tell folks. It was about the school system. We educate 10% of public education in the state of Georgia in Gwinnett County. 176,000 people in 43. I don't know, some big number like that. But that's amazing to me. And that's just the public school. We have some great private schools as well. So bravo there. Diversity. Well, you could. Here we are. And with diversity, you have to be welcoming. You have to be inclusive in terms of diversity. Dan Kaufman, who's the chamber chairman, says if you look at Gwinnett County today, it will be like the United States will be in the year 2040. So if we can figure out how to do it here right in Gwinnett County, it'll be a model of where things go in the country. Regionalism. That doesn't mean just Gwinnett County, even though we have 16 cities. It also means the Metro Atlanta region. It means North Georgia region. It means between. So you can't isolate yourself in a silo. We're all connected. You have to think that way when you're thinking about many things, especially transportation. Wealth. It's about building wealth that continues to. Wealth produces jobs, produces opportunities, produces income, produces tax, SPLOST, and so forth. So all that is cyclic, okay? And allows the community to continue to grow and build and change. So I thought that was a really good slide from them. This is amazing. Let me get my little pointer here. is a little confusing because it's not a little hard to read. There's been 7 recessions, not counting the Great Recession, and since like 1970. And these are the way peak employment is starting at 0%. See how these recessions, how long did they last, and how the deepest one was like a little over 2%. Oops, wrong button, back it up. Okay. This is our current recession. Okay, it took all the way to 2014 to get to where we were in 2007. Okay, that was a sobering slide to me, and that's just about employment. That doesn't mean housing product prices and all of that. That's how big that was. In that recession, the city of Norcross has actually lowered taxes, and we're still debt free from beginning to end. So that's amazing. When I talk about the Renaissance, 2001 to 2015, half of the Renaissance period has been in a huge recession. So I thought that was a pretty amazing slide there. This is just Norcross. This isn't all of Gwinnett. Big numbers there. This 7th best city. I don't know what nerd wall it is, but they're the one that said it, so I'm just going with it. It was on the internet, so it has to be true. And these are some of the programs that we do here in the community center to try to increase business and so forth. Oops, get that right. 2 of our biggest employers. Soneva, if you haven't heard about this, they just announced a $95 million investment in Norcross that will net 500 new jobs, high-paying jobs. Yeah. West Rock merged with, it used to be Rock 10, they merged with another company. They were both $23 billion companies. Now we have a $46 billion, with a B, billion-dollar company, now called West Rock. Now the address of their home office is in Richmond, Virginia. But their CEO and their head staff are in Norcross, and they continue to, and I know it's like over 1,200 employees, again, at the corporate level, at the headquarter level type folks. So that's tremendous. This is about the Gwinnett Village CID. Look at that number. If you go up the 85, you see the work along the expressways. We were one of the first ones, I say we, I'm including them in this, putting the landscaping as you get off the interstate, and it looks spectacular. We're talking about Jimmy Carter, we're talking about Indian Trail, and we're talking about Beaver Run. All 3 of those, and then a lot of landscaping along with Beaver Run in the city. And they go with the sheriff's department and pick up litter. I think 80 miles of road. I'm not sheriff's department, the convicts pick up trash a lot, and like 80 miles. Maybe on the next slide. Maybe we can have. Yeah, here we go. 80 miles of sidewalks. Through all of the CID. About half the city is in the CID. Everything from Buford Highway all the way over is in the CID. And so they constructed this number of miles of sidewalks, but they also spend time, I don't know how often, once a month or every 2 weeks. How often, Chuck? Every 2 weeks, they send a crew around, all of that. And Connie can tell you it's made a difference, right? And also, we look for graffiti, and we're informed, so we try to keep that down as well. And they've done a tremendous job with that. Of course, we've also, this is the gateway bridge to Gwinnett County. And matter of fact, the county's plan for the future, I-85 is called the International Gateway. So that's where they think a lot of the population is going to be over the next few years. And I think international, we all know that. But at night, it's going to be spectacular. They're still tweaking it, and the lights and signals and so forth. But we were one of the first ones to start with this diverging diamond. Now there's about 4 others that are either done or in the progress. It's really starts up. What happens is, by doing this crisscross crazy thing, you get 30 to 40% throughput for about $3 million or $3.5 million, and then they added more with the bridge thing and all. And if you were to put a new bridge in there, it would cost over $60 million, and it would take you probably 5 to 10 years to get the process, if you can even get the money. So amazing work there, and you'll see more landscaping in that area as well. This is is right across the street from the city. You've heard a lot about it, Atlanta Media Center. And this is what they would like to do over a 20, 30 year period. They've already been filming a ton of things over there. They're talking about mixed use and all type of restaurants and theaters and live workplace, all in this area, which is the old OFS plant, which is the old LUSA, Westinghouse. Oh, it's been a lot of things. That's a huge facility over there. And this will be something that is really surprising. The media campus is up top. Down below is Eagle Rock Studios, which has been open for several months. And it was the old Kraft plant, moved into Eagle Rock Distributed, and they have 4 sound stages in there. And they're turning out movies and TVs and for TV and for the movies all the time there. Right across the street, right at Best Friend Road, just across the street from the city. So that's in the CID. Both of those are in the CID. I was shocked when I saw the number of movies that have been filmed since they started doing movies over there. Some of them you'll recognize and some of them you won't, but there's 19 on that list. And some pretty huge blockbusters. We're talking 100, 200, $300 million type of, $200 million to make, and then, blockbusters. So a lot of them were made right across the street while you were sleeping. Now I'm going to move to Norcross. Our number one priority is to keep you safe. Okay, that's kind of starts there, and then we go from that point. The police department is really doing some great things. This slide over here, they're doing this training to keep all the police in top physical shape. There's a whole program on that. Right here, this is the crime scene investigation. Now, in general, most police departments, if you get your car broken into, your house broken into, it's too bad, I'll fill out a report, turn in insurance. We actually go and take fingerprints, and we've made a lot of arrests. Talk to Miss Marilyn Meacham. I would not like to break into her house, but she left her door open, so somebody thought he could go in and was walking out with her TV. And she said, "Hey, who are you?" And he said, "I'm Matt." She went, "What are you doing in my house?" And so he sat there, very slowly set the TV down. She was between him and the door, which was not good for him. And so she grabbed him running out and pulled his t-shirt off of him, which had DNA and smell and all that. So we got the dogs and we chased him and so forth. Ended up catching the guy and prosecuting the guy. And she'll tell you the story about that in more detail than I did. The camera system, we have a camera system through it that kind of circles the city. So when we have a crime, we can go back and look and see what car or what person was in that area. And we've been able to solve a lot of different crimes. Some of them have car tag readers. So if we know the bad guy's in a particular car, it'll alert us if that car is in town, and we'll go arrest him and show him to where the jail is. So this predictive policing is what they call PredPol. It's very much like they know what you want to buy at the grocery store, when you want to buy it, so they'll have it on the aisle so you'll see it. Same type of idea is they know based on, they put in on a regular basis where the crimes occurred, when they occurred, and so it will predict within like a quarter-mile place where the next crime might be and when it might be, and they're sure that the police are driving by. So it doesn't mean that the people didn't try to do something, but they may have seen a police car and got run off. So it takes care of really using all of our forces the best it possibly can. Community camera program, this was Councilman Newton's idea, is, and I don't understand 100% about it, but the idea is if you allow them, if you are a business or a private owner, and allow them to use your camera system, they can potentially tap into it if there was a crime or whatever to do that. So this is in kind of the early stages. But there's a brochure and stuff about that that explains it better than I did. And then there's one more here. Oh, these guys right here. You may have seen them. We used drug money for the first year to buy those 2 motorcycles and to pay for those police. And the reason we did that is the police do a lot of analytics, and they found out last year we had a lot more wrecks than we did the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that. And so the idea was, why are we having the wrecks? Well, it turns out people aren't paying attention as much anymore. Your guess might be correct they're either texting or reading their email or whatever. So be careful if you're in a city and you're reading your email, you might meet one of these guys. And then from now on, we'll be so that's a traffic unit and they're a team. So they're not on there together, but they take turns doing traffic duty. These are some information about crime. The left is 2013, middle is 2014, and green is 2015. And so this is about the action size. And in 2015, after we got the two folks doing traffic stops, obviously citations went up. And we're hoping in 2016, we're going to see the accidents go down. Okay, so that way we'll know we're doing all the right things. This is major crimes. There's two slides about this, and you can see in almost every case, major crime is going down. I'll do the two slides, and then I'll go back. So you see the whole, all right, that's it. Individual. This will be on the web, by the way, if you want to come, if you're having trouble sleeping at night. But if you add all those up, the blue one in front is 2013. Between 2013 and 2015, major crimes have given have reduced 9.4%. You can clap now. They do a lot of community policing. Unfortunately, we had an incident we had two incidents on Buford Highway the same day. A lady that lived in the city, was 80 years old, pulled in front of somebody and was killed in an accident. The chief went up to Gainesville to talk to him, to tell the family. He could have said anybody. I'm sorry. This stuff gets me. And we also had a gentleman that was run over trying to cross Buford Highway that same day. But wonderful. But see, I found the secret weapon. We have the crime dog. And he's got a golf cart. So okay, this is what I've said at the beginning about experiencing Renaissance. I went back to 2001. I just went back through the files and found a downtown about 2001, which it looked a lot like the city when I moved to the city here at the beginning of 2013. And it's not a bad looking town. It's not bad at all. But you start to, another thing, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. In the events, now I know there were more than this, so I wasn't around then, but I know that there were some events. But just look forward to 2015, we have over 300 events in town every year. So look at the leap in that, and that's about community building. So that's great. This is Lillian Park. We have a history of baseball. This was right in downtown, and it was used occasionally for baseball. It was used, the outfield was used for football practice, and we've done a lot of studies. And I mentioned this at the beginning. It started in 2001, the Livable Cities Initiative, and you can look at all of these studies that have done, and that's not even all of them. Again, the slide only takes so many. And all of these have community input. They have professionals that guided them, and so this was the very first Livable Centers Initiative study that said, this is the kind of things you can do, and that's where the people started getting together and talking, and so construction started. There's some. This is a skin alley right here. You see the new sidewalks. You see the construction going on, and this was in downtown. If you remember this, this was the maintenance barn, and that's the back of it. It was in downtown, right next to City Hall. Now we've got like 80 parking places right next to City Hall. Do this, and you see the park being built. This little slide there. Oh, I don't know why I didn't miss a part of that slide. But I think you can see we did pretty well with the Lillian Park, and then bought the whole land where we now have the community center. There's the Lionheart, where Lionheart does their performances right there. Community center, back behind it is the rectory. It's one of my favorite pictures. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Charlie. I think he's the one that did We leased the land for the Welcome Center and History Museum and did a complete reno on the house. And behind there is where the new Discovery Garden is going to go. And if you haven't been to the History Museum and Welcome Center for a bit, you need to go and check it out. It's really got some neat stuff in it. And that's where we have our baseball history. It used to be in a little house, which is where Kudzu is now. And then it went to City Hall, and now it actually has a home, and it's actually done very professionally, and you really enjoy that history. City Hall was built, paid off. The new playground, Thrasher Park, got a $700,000 renovation. That's the Welcome Center again, and that's one of the displays in there. This is Thrasher Park. Many of you recognize it from the concerts in there, and I think, you know, by estimates, I'll estimate like a preacher, we have about 5,000 people that cover those concerts. It's amazing, but great concerts in the park. This is the, right here is inside, and this is again the maintenance barn. Looks a lot better, it's a lot bigger, and it's outside the city. It's over off of Lively, and so we were able to do that about 4 or 5 years ago. Down at the bottom is Kudzu Art Zone. Many of you take art classes, and they have pictures throughout all of the different restaurants in town. The artists display their work. This is the rectory, and if you haven't seen that lately, it's really been spiffed up. And Kate does, we have art shows and things like that in that. So it's been reused, so it really fits into our sustainable work. Obviously, this is Betty Malden Park with our championship elm tree and our fountain and so forth. This is right across from City Hall, goes up to another smaller park. And this is Jackson Alley for event there. And Skin Alley was a great redo. This is Gene's history tour. If you haven't had a chance to go over and do that and see the cemetery, you should do that. But wait until Gene does the whole tour, because it really makes it so much cooler to do that. The city owns that cemetery. This is some planning. We have anywhere from, I think about $250,000 in our budget. We kind of learned from the CID. Landscaping can really give it a sense of place, and we're trying to tie landscaping in the whole, this happens to be in downtown. If you ride down Mitchell Road, and we're going to do some stuff along Norcross Tucker Road, so we're going to be working on landscape throughout the whole city, so that the whole city looks like downtown over a period of years there. So that's a start. We've got some great new marketing. Pam and her crew put together all these things, and they're in, you know, when you stop at the visitor centers and so forth, you'll find this. She's got some laid out for you if you want to see any of them. They did great work, and it really, it's got some interesting tidbits, even as a citizen you might not know about the city. Now I want to talk about 216 and beyond. Some of the projects you're going to see happening around the city, we're going to continue to build sidewalks. We've already got, I think, $250,000 to build some more. We'll continue with our SPLOST funds to do that. Also, the roads are going to be improved, and I'll talk about one in particular. Well, what we're looking to do with the county is take the old Norcross Library and make that our police precinct. And so it'll be right along Buford Highway. It'll give them a room. It'll give us a little more room in City Hall, especially for our court system. And so we're working with the county to come up with a way to do that. And so that'll be great. And as I mentioned before, doing some additional landscaping. Buford Highway, this has taken us 5 years to get to the point where we're actually going to turn some dirt. But Buford Highway, that's the top way it looks now. But now it'll look more like Beaver Run. It'll have medians, it'll have new sidewalks, it'll have landscaping, all the way from the city limit to city limit. This is coming up, you'll start seeing it, and it'll be a mess for a long time. You may or might not know this, but in excess of 60,000 cars a day travel past our city on Buford Highway. So, let's see. This is the National City Citizen Survey that we'll be, I think, voting on it at the next meeting. We talked about it at a retreat. Is to I think they poll something along the lines of 12 to 1,400 citizens in your city and compare you to other cities on quality of life, and so we can have some kind of markers to go by. And then every 2 or 3 years, and Swanee does it, and they just recommend 3 years, you do do it again and see where you're making progress. It identifies areas for, that you're doing well in and where you need to work. And so we'll be voting on that soon. So that's one of the things we brought up. Also, being special needs certified. We deal with folks that have special needs all the time. This gives sensitivity training on how you deal with those citizens, and then we hope that businesses will follow suit and have this training and be special needs certified as well. But we won't take the lead on this. This is something that's designed to complement the cemetery tour, and it's expected to be completed in 2016. East Norcross, we're already doing safe routes to school and the multi-use trail along Beaver Run right next to where we are, in the full, about a 12-foot wide sidewalk kind of thing. You can bike on it, walk on it, strollers, walk your dog. That's starting, and we're working with the Gwinnett Village CID on that. This is Pinnacle Park. If you've never been to Pinnacle Point, back behind it was a detention pond, and we bought the whole land for like $34,000 or something like that. And it's got some infrastructure in there, but we're going to put a playground in there, a pavilion, some walking trails, in the future maybe a boat ramp, some other things like that. And right now it's being dredged. This is what it looked like before the dredging started. And even though it's muddy, this is what it looks like now. And so that's going to be an amenity for people. One of the things we found out from our parks and green space study is people want to be able to walk and run and walk their dogs and so forth. And so this creates connections, and we're also, I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so this is one of the new amenities at East Side Norcross. Summer Park, right next to us, if you look down the hill, it was the old Norcross High School football stadium. It's now an AstroTurf soccer field that during the day the middle school uses. At night, you get kids on it all the time. We work with the Norcross Soccer Association, and they program it part of the time, and then it's open for free play other parts of the time. It's got lights, and Mary Beth said on February the 23rd, the 20 French coaches are going to come here and use this field, and soccer coaches, I don't know. Who knew? And we've been found out. And right next to it is, you may or may not know, it was a Kaboom Park. The CarMax actually donated the money and the manpower to build that at no cost to the city. It sits at the front part of the park. And of course, the soccer field you can see right below that. What you're seeing here on the right is in construction right now. It's where the Lions Club used to be. The Lions Club needed a little work. But we worked for the Lions Club, and they allowed us to rebuild this is going to be bathrooms, it's going to have a concession stand, it's going to have a meeting room and storage that will help with the park there. So the foundation's laid there. It'll be up, I think, in the next 2 months. Also, this was something we did with Gwinnett County School System. We gave them some land along Mitchell Road, and they let us build the soccer field and Kaboom right here, and also the big lot that used to have the bus parking in it. The reason you don't see buses parking in there is because it belongs to us now, and it's going to be restriped for cars. And between that and then the little area we used to store some things with the electric department right here, which is right across the street from where we are, we're going to pave that. So you're going to be able to get about 235 parking spaces, which will help with Summer Field and Cemetery Field. Across, even though cemetery is run by the county, there's always a parking problem over there. Okay, we're doing a greenway study right now, and John put the latest and greatest version of this. It's looking at where we can connect, where our streams are. This is in the Beaver Ruin watershed, okay? This area. There's two different plans here. And so we've come up with a suggested plan, which they're going to bring to council this month. So you'll see that, and it's the idea of, some of it's sidewalks, some of it's walking trails through next to streams, some of it is, they call it share road, where you ride a bicycle in cars, where you know bicycles are going to run there. So there's a neat plan. Hope you get a chance to look. And none of you have been involved in that along the way. Okay, in Town Center and Town Center East, this was the 2011 LCI, just a rendering to show the type of development that you might have. And we're talking about mixed-use development. This is like a 20 to 30-year plan. This is now, this 27 acres around here is in a tab, and the county and the school system are going to hopefully vote on that very soon to help with some infrastructure in this area. And then the DDA has been working, they've got this piece of land right here, and they've got this piece of land right here, and then this piece of land right here to market to developers. This piece, which was pad 2, was voted on last month to take it out of the development. So for right now, that we're just going to leave it as is. So right up here, the way it shows on this particular drawing. This is just blockies to show you where they sit on here. So this will be the new county library right here with parking underneath. This is a proposed greenway to go from Buford Highway up into the park. There's the little bathroom right there. There's the falls and all. And then here, we're talking 2 levels of parking and potentially 2 levels, I think it shows 3 here, but 2 levels above it to be mixed use as well. And there'll be a discussion this month on potentially giving this part to the DDA to market as well. So we'll see where that goes. And then down at the bottom is just a different perspective. If you're looking from Buford Highway at it, this would only be 2 stories and not 3. And then I think this helps to just looking from the top. And then this is the upper level parking, which would be a bigger level. And then below on the other side is 1 level below. It's 350 spaces, between 300 and 350 spaces. The library needs 150, so 150 to 200 other spaces potentially. Discovery Garden, a group of citizens really got together and brought this concept forward and the idea, and they laid it out where you do gardening there. These are plots that will be stone plots that would be built up, so where you can work, where you don't have to bend over and do the gardening. And then all type of amenities around here. And here's the Welcome Center right here. So we'll be voting on that, on the funding for that at our next, we'll be talking about our policy session, which is the second or the third Monday of the month. And then we'll be potentially voting on that at the council meeting in March. So that's very exciting. There's in our packet for this month, there's another proposed transportation safety project. Anybody that's gone across Holcomb Bridge Road it knows what I'm talking about. And we asked the chief to do some stats. Again, we try to look at the numbers. And one of the wrecks, one of the train crashes happened, a car came up over the hill and the cars were stopped for either let somebody across the crosswalk or whatever. They didn't know until they got on the tracks. They couldn't get off the tracks. The train came, bam, he lived. You saw the car, you couldn't tell that. But, and then many of you saw the one where we had the car hauler and cars all over the place. And so that's kind of where this came from. So the ARC gave us a grant to do a study for safety crossing on that. And this is what they ended up, the company, 59% like this idea the best. And let me get you oriented there. Of course, this is Thrasher Street. Here's the train station right here, crossing. Here's West Peach Street. This is Holcomb Bridge. So you start back at West Peach Street and you slowly incline all the way up to here, and then you do the same thing back here. You build this up so that it is, you can see as you come across both ways. As you come across going from here, it doesn't drop off like, and then coming up here, you can see at least there's somebody on the track. And we still get a lot of trucks through Norcross, even though we've given them tickets and so forth. GPS sends them through there. So not every truck will probably be able to get across this one, but they can get across a lot of them. But at least people will be able to see in advance, and this will be on the agenda for policy session and for the March meeting. These are some of the homes that are being built. This is an older slide, but you know how many homes are being built around Norcross right now. That's part of the Renaissance. We're basically in redevelopment. We're built out for the most part. Our last 2 big tracts of land were the vineyard in terms of people, and then where the FedEx is. Those are the last big pieces of land. Everything else has got something on it, more or less. So we're into redevelopment, and there's infill and so forth that comes back in. But that, I think, is part of the driver that makes Norcross. And if you looked at Norcross in 2001, the number of houses and type of houses and type of communities, and look at it now, amazing. There are tons of cities, I should have said this earlier, when we did the study about the train crossing, they had to find out how many cars went through downtown Norcross a day. I was shocked. 10,000. 10,000 cars a day. And 12 of them live here. And but anyway, you look at Buford Highway, as I said, 60 or more thousand. You look at Peachtree Industrial, somewhere in the neighborhood of 75,000. You look at Jimmy Carter on our south side, in the 75,000. A lot of people come through here. A lot of people work here in Norcross. So I think that's really, and what our economic development director says, we're around 95% full in terms of businesses throughout Norcross. Take a moment and read that. Like I said, I don't like to read slides to people. This was another slide from Partnership Gwinnett about cities and metros. As I said, change is difficult, but if you don't change is going to happen anyway. So we want to manage the way we do it, and we want to do it collectively together. We want to do it in a thoughtful way, but we have to continually work. You let your house go for a year, you let it go for 6 months or whatever, it's going to get in disrepair and so forth. You have to continually, just like the garden, you have to tend it. You have to work on it. You have to, and we want to do this together. So that's why I say that, that we're experiencing a renaissance, but I don't think we're through. I think there are a number of other things to do, and we want to do it in a very open and careful way, but, we also, what does it say? It's not perfection, it's progress. If you waited until something was perfect, you'd never do anything. It would completely stop you. So you have to think about what is going to be the best for not just us and not just now, but for our kids and the future. So we really need to think that to continue, because it's not going to just happen. I mean, if you don't tend to it, it'll happen on its own, and it won't be probably what you want or like. But if we work on it and think about it and work collectively, we can absolutely get through any problem that we have and any issue to get us something we're all going to be very proud of. And so that gets us to the end of the slide. And we started the beginning with a great jazz band here, and I'm being a musician. I heard at the chamber the other night, the new chamber president is the artistic director for the Aurora Theater. And he said, in a musical, when it comes to just that certain moment that happens, then you have to go with music. And so I had to end with some music, if it works. Hey!
Oh, Admiral, get away, far away from the fuss and the usual. It's my favorite place, whole new space that I call my own. So I go downtown.
Thank you. Join us for some treats.